Hello everyone, this is a quick video on a tool that I have been using to make my spider diagrams better for learning and more readable. So I've been using it for a fair while now, but I've just recently got a high quality print of it and found out how to put a downloadable version on Etsy, so finally getting around to making a video about it. You will probably already be familiar with spider diagrams. It's a kind of fairly basic form of mind mapping where you have one central idea leading out to a couple of key ideas and then more ideas arranged around those ones. The advantage of using that for revision is fairly well known and demonstrated. It's kind of engaging with visual bits of your brain and the kinesthetic part of your brain in kind of writing around different bits of the paper, and the advantages of this paper are partly adding a nice splash of colour so you can kind of more easily remember how many things you're meant to be recalling from each different segment. It's got what I have found to be a kind of optimum number of key points for you to make. So your diagram doesn't get too crowded. It's also got that bit there for you to be listing the key points as you're listening to your lecture, watching your video, flicking through your book, whatever, without being distracted by thinking about, is this going to be a key point? Does that need to be in the centre? Does it need to be off to the side somewhere? Because once you've got your points listed, you've then got this here to select your key points. Also, I find it very helpful in that, well, I've not had to use it for this one, but I've got this space here where I put kind of further details or kind of links to things. I'll be getting more information, which means that I'm not tempted to try and put everything into the diagram itself. It just gets too cluttered and too much information for me to easily memorise. And of course the design itself with its clear inner and outer zones makes it clear which ones are the key points. Makes you write slightly bigger for the inner ones, and hopefully fairly neatly. I might not have the neatest writing, but it's a lot neater than if I was doing this just by hand on a blank piece of paper. So, in case you're in any doubt or forget, I've got a list of how to use this. We would start with just writing the title. So my spider diagram here is going to be about electric storage heaters. I have a meeting coming up where I'll be expected to know the basics of those, and doing a spider diagram is going to help me remember that. So I'll start by title, putting that in number 1. Then as number 2, you'll start listing some relevant points about it. So normally I would do this as I'm listening to a lecture or as I'm flicking through my books, looking up a topic on YouTube or whatever. I'll just put down the first couple of points now. So I have already found out that they exist to take advantage of dual or triple tariffs. So first key point is going to be and so yeah, most of the art of doing these things is knowing what to include and what not to do. So for example, I'm not going to write down that they work by electricity or that they function to heat spaces, because I know that and I'm in no danger of forgetting it, so I'm not going to waste space or visual memory on putting those kind of details down. Next detail that I have already found out, which I need to remember, is that they have two different controls, an input heat and an output heat dial. I'll just note down that one. And hopefully you get the idea of what to include and what not to include here. I'm just going to skip ahead to a point where I've done all my research and taken down notes now. This paper is already going to be useful though, in that before I started using this, I would, despite knowing it was a bad habit, every time end up with far too many points to make a usable diagram out of, whereas this kind of limits me to just putting down the key information that I know that I'll need to remember. Also, I would have previously just been going straight to writing things in the diagram itself and be thinking partly trying to kind of second guess what will be the key topics that need to be near the centre and which ones will be kind of on the outside. Now I don't need to do that, I just list all the points as I go without thinking about that, and then later I'll select the key ones. Okay, see you in a few minutes. Hello again, I'm back, having noted down enough things about electric storage heaters to get me through a quick meeting without embarrassing myself. Of course, if I was looking to acquire more in-depth knowledge about them, what I would probably do is kind of make a number of different spider diagrams covering different kind of subtopics about them, but this will do for my purposes. So I've got 11 things there, which I find is usually about right for one map. The next stage is to prioritise them. So basically I'm going to go through, pick kind of 3, 4 so ideas here, which are key ideas which are the most important and or the other ones lead from them, and these are basically the ones that will go in the inner circle in slightly bigger writing here. So dual tariff is a key one. The use of thermal bricks, so no plumbing. The dual control system you get. Yeah, I don't think any of the others need to be key points. So then I will write these key points in here. Yeah, using the kind of coloured quadrants, so that each has its own colour and just makes it that little bit easier to remember, because you've got that extra factor for your brain to be thinking about and recalling when the time comes. So dual tariffs over here. I'll have 2 controls over here. And I'll have thermal bricks over here. Okay, so having done that, I'll then start putting the rest of these points in the outer circle, kind of preferably near the key points that's most relevant to them, but if kind of start running out of space in a particular key point, I might start by putting them up in the yellow section and just have arrows pointing to them later. So I'll get back to you when I've written all that out. Okay, so now I have listed each of these points in this area either as a kind of key point in the inner circle or as one of the other points in the outer circle, and now I just kind of link them in some way. It's going to be kind of visually distinct, and we'll kind of get the visual bits of your brain working, which will help you to remember these a lot better than if you're just writing it, relying entirely on your kind of verbal part of your brain to remember it. And everyone will have their own style and exactly how they kind of colour things in and do the arrows and things, and so it would be preferable if you have several different styles so that each one's a bit unique and a bit more memorable. Something I often do to make things a little extra easier to remember is use a little bit of colour coding in my writing. So the red points are written are kind of safety considerations, and I'll remember fairly easily that there are 3 bits of red writing on this, and if kind of during my meeting or my test or whatever I know I've only written down 2, that I'll probably actually think, I remember I wrote that there, and I remember I wrote that there, so what do I write in the middle? Oh yeah, there was do not come events. So quite quickly now kind of getting flow, so you kind of start with a central idea, and related to that is the fact that it uses dual tariffs, and then from that you have a number of points which may have some points of their own, such as in the UK's carbon calculator, it has electricity has a CO2 equivalent, and that value is different in different editions of that calculator. So I'm not going to record filling in every single arrow here, but you can see it's taken about 10 minutes, and most of that would have been done as I'm listening to whatever lecture or watching whatever YouTube video, so no real time lost, and I'm creating something that is far more memorable, and certainly for my brain, and research suggests that for a large number of other brains this is going to stick in it a lot longer than if I had just written out a short page of notes somewhere in a booklet, which would then be sitting somewhere in a drawer. Hope you can see the use in this tool, and if you can, it's on my Etsy store. I'll have a link below, and if you have any feedback, suggestions how it could be made even better, please let me know below. Thank you.